Just leaving the shop. We've got the trailer on the back of the van. In tow is the Bosch Greentronic heat pump water heater. We've got a cool install today. I want you to stick around for the whole video. Stay tuned.
Ooh, that's pretty. I just love the way they look.
All right, I'll go down first.
Good idea.
It's gonna be very challenging. Per usual, there's not enough room. All right, you're straight.
Hang on.
Yep.
Okay, I'm clear.
I'm ready. You ready?
Yep.
Oh man, are you lifting?
Most of it. Are you?
I feel like you're doing all the work.
No, just like normal. Slow down.
We got
2 more. I can see them.
Okay, I gotta move out of the way. Okay, you're going down one last step.
Yep.
But all right, you gotta stand.
I'm gonna stand it up.
You can't.
And
You
we're
gotta
gonna
turn.
pivot.
You gotta turn.
We're gonna pivot, Chandler.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Okay, I'm clear. It's gonna be in my hip, but we're good. Luckily, I got this microphone in my back pocket to support me on the wall.
Yeah, I know. Look, this is a lot easier than I anticipated. If I was here
Well, it's
alone,
probably because you're doing the easy side.
I just did two
Slow
water
down.
heaters. I was just
Okay, one more.
going on your lead. 2 more. Last one. Stand it up, all the way,
And
straight.
sing?
Yeah,
No,
straight
hang
up.
on. Just let me turn.
I was gonna say
I
you
can
could go
pivot
the other
this.
way. There you go.
Gosh darn.
Look at that.
Not only shoveling driveways.
This thing is, it's gonna kill me today. I'm gonna lose my mind on it. I promise you. I'm gonna run into that thing at least a dozen times today. I just feel like that's a reality.
Merry Christmas.
Exactly. So there was a tank here, and then they had this tankless installed, and it's not performing the way they wanted to. I should have grabbed a hose for this, I guess, but hindsight's 20/20. I don't see one. There's only like 14 of them in the back of my van, so I'm not exactly sure why I wouldn't just grab my own hose.
It's reality TV.
Oh, it is. It is. I thought I just. I think it's fine. It sounds like we're in the bathroom right now. It's making me have to pee. All right. All right. Well, and we don't even know if this is actually. We might just be draining down the house. It doesn't seem to be any power here or any pressure. I'm going to let that drain. I'm going to start prepping. Now we're off. House is off, but we'll go like this. We'll turn this on. And now we can drain down the house right there instead of all into my 5-gallon bucket. Clever. Look at that, it stopped. So we can disconnect this, start demoing that, but I think before I do that, I'm going to prep the water heater. To get this started up, I've got some fittings in a box with me. Pretty basic. The nice thing about this Bosch heat pump, in my opinion, is how much thought went into the design. We've got the pre-pipe connections, so we don't have to thread anything into it. It's already all there. I like that. Brass drain on the bottom, thread it in. We've got water connections, both cold inlet, hot water outlet, and here's the temperature pressure relief valve here. Those are all pre-installed. That's not, it may seem normal, but that's not the case. And every time I pull a tank out of a box, depending on the manufacturer, depending on the style or the model, you might have to start assembling things like that. And I like that when he pulled this Bosch out of the box, everything's just ready to go. I just need to thread onto it and get started. One of the questions I get a lot of are, I get a lot of inquiries, just like people, you know, I don't want to say tire kickers, but people just calling me. They see a YouTube video, they see me do an installation on social media, something like that. Or maybe they see some marketing materials by the manufacturer and they're asking, you know, is this right for me? Is a heat pump water heater gonna work for my house? Maybe they've got different motivations as to asking. It's newer technology, the heat pump tank stuff. It's been around a little while, but they really started kind of accelerating the, you know, all the manufacturers, it seems, are offering them now. The technology has improved greatly. There's no doubt about that. They've become quieter, they become more powerful, more efficient, all that kind of thing. And so the questions come in often, you know, is this right for me? And you know, the answer is always it depends. There's a couple things you have to think about when you're looking at water, or how a heat pump could fit into your house. And will you have the space for it? So first and foremost, you have to have a minimum cubic feet, right? So we have to have in your space, in your mechanical space, in your basement, in your garage, wherever you have your water heater. You have to have a certain amount of volume in the space, because that volume is going to contain the energy you're going to need to transfer from the air into the water. Without that volume, what's going to happen is the heat pump is going to act like kind of like a refrigerator in a sense for your mechanical space, for the area it's installed, and it's going to remove all that energy, that latent energy in the air. And that wouldn't be good if you didn't have enough volume. So in order to, you know, in order for it to be a good candidate, you'd have to have enough volume in the space, put it that way. And then the other thing too is, you know, what are your motivations behind it? Are you looking to save operating costs? Are you looking to use less energy overall, just in its operation? Because with a 500 watt heat pump, instead of a 4,500 watt element, you could definitely save energy, but there's a trade-off. So when you're using just electric heat elements, you're gonna have a faster recovery than if you're using the heat pump only. You can use the cool thing about the Bosch is you can use both at the same time. So you can prioritize the heat pump over the elements, and then when needed or as needed, it can engage the elements and speed up the recovery. Hey, Mike.
Morning.
So there was a tank installed until about 4 or 5 months ago. That's when they installed that electric tankless there, Mike.
Yeah.
And they don't like the operation.
And it's expensive. Now YouTube table too?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what the expense is on it. I know he's on solar here,
Oh, I see.
but they're waiting too long for hot water, and it's not good for like low flow.
Oh yeah, yep.
So one of their big complaints is they turn the kitchen faucet on, which is
Directly
above. But the faucet has a low enough flow rate that it won't keep the tankless operating evenly. I thought that was interesting. I've never actually seen that problem because the gas stuff doesn't really act that way. You know what I mean? So the performance is, so you've got 50 gallons of stored water, right? But then there's what's called a first hour rating with every tank water heater. And that's gonna be the amount of water it has in standby, available immediately, plus what it can recover at a certain degree rise. Typically they're rated at I think it's 50-degree rise, something like that. Don't quote me on that. You want to look at the website specs. But you're going to add those two together. We'll link the manual, the performance specs for this in the video, but it's going to be like a 50-gallon electric like this in the hybrid or the operational mode where it's going to use both the heating elements and the heat pump itself. It's going to handle a 2-bathroom house no problem. You do need to start considering going larger if you've got a higher demand. Like if you've got 4 to 5 people in a house, 3 bathrooms, you're going to start looking in the range of the 65 to 80 gallon capacity, because you have to start with the amount of water you're going to need to meet your demand. And then every house is different. So that's kind of where we get a little, it gets a little dicey to put a label on it, because some houses are going to have, big soaker tubs. Some houses are going to have multi-head showers, and that's going to dictate your demand. So you're going to have to calculate that demand. If you take a 20-minute shower, and that shower, you've got 3 shower heads in there, and each one of them is 2.5 gallons a minute. Now you're at what? 7.5 gallons a minute times 20 minutes or 10 minutes. That's 70 or 7.5 gallons a minute for 10 minutes. That's 75 gallons right there. I mean, that's a lot of, that's a big demand. And so we wouldn't start with a 50 gallon in a situation like that. Does that make sense? So ultimately, the reality is this: the performance is awesome. Heat pump water heaters work fantastically, but you have to understand that using 500 watts on a heat pump is going to take a longer recovery to make hot water than if we're using 4,500 watt elements. Wouldn't you agree with that, Mike?
100%.
You know what's really cool? Look at the,
Oh, that is neat.
see how they put the O-ring in there?
Do you put goose on that?
You don't have to do anything.
Do you, though?
No, I don't. And you know what else is...
Try using that penetrating oil? I got the greatest stuff.
Stop talking. I want to tell you why I think this is cool, but you're just talking about dumb stuff right now. So
you need to know about it, though.
No,
you have
watch.
To grease your
oh, where'd it go?
fittings.
Where'd it go? We're missing one, dude. Oh, here it is.
You can use that.
So ideally it stays in place, right? And so the nice thing, they call it, Kalefi calls this posi lock or posi stop or something like that.
They work in a place that
Watch this. Ready? I just stump it on there.
Yeah.
Boom. That's it. That's all the tighter I need to be. That to me is
You
really
are
cool.
really strong, though.
No, I'm just telling you.
Oh, you're not strong.
I'm not.
That's true. I was one that
I am the
carried.
world's strongest plumber. I'm gonna make that claim.
Is that Flintstone?
No, I'm
Actually,
making the
no.
claim right now.
No,
To
actually,
all involved.
they had a competition of grip strength, and Flintstone didn't even come in the top 3. We're on YouTube, aren't we? What are we broadcasting on? Build Network?
YouTube
Never heard
for
of it.
Mechanical Hub.
Oh, really?
Ever heard of it?
I have.
So,
I only go to the plumbing perspective page.
hey.
Who does that? Someone else?
Kidding.
No, I'm just, John does, yeah. I don't love that. I think it needs to be longer, by the way. Sometimes you just have to cut things multiple times. You know what I mean? There's not a lot you can do about it. I want it to be perfect. Not really interested in good enough.
Send me over your fake, funny tape measure.
Oh. My funny tape measure? Why do you call it that? I can't even grip this. Look at this. This is a pro
So
move.
50 inches away. Great. We made it. I'll pull the electric out of that other one.
So this is a thermostatic mixing valve. And it comes, this is the hot coming out of the tank. This is the cold that's going to be feeding the tank at the bottom here, right? And what it's also going to do is feed this 1/2 side of the thermostatic mixing valve. So you got hot, you got cold mixed together right here. We can adjust the temperature using this dial because there's a cartridge inside of here. What's trying to do is balance the delivery temperature we need. So we're going to look for about 120 degrees out to the house. It could be lower than that, but on the high side, 120. So I'm going to set the temperature in the tank to be higher than that, which is going to increase the volume of the tank. And we're going to mix cold, have a safe temperature out. So that's what this is right here. It's not absolutely necessary, but it is a great way to produce, save delivery temperature, have better performance and higher capacity kind of coming out of the heater. It's kind of just how I do it all the time. Very standard for my installations. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Yeah, you do everything all the time.
All the time. And then on every tank, code required is a shutoff valve. So in this case, we're using a full port ball valve we'll put on the cold side. So you have to be able to isolate the tank. That's a code requirement. We're gonna put an expansion tank on too. The reason why we put the expansion tank on is because that way, being a check valve on the street side of the meter, as the water heats in the tank, it needs somewhere to expand to. Instead, in order for it to expand, we're gonna allow like the acceptance volume. We're gonna put a tank on there to do that. Hey, pay attention to what I'm doing here. I feel like this becomes like muscle memory.
Yeah, I bet.
This is my favorite sound. You ready?
So it keeps the 14-year-old and you happy.
It does. It's gonna keep me happy. All right, I'm not gonna press that because I want to be able to move this T, but I am gonna be able to press this. I'm gonna try to see if this is plumb. Wow. Wow. All right, thermal expansion tank. I've done so many videos about expansion tanks, but here's the deal. Water, potable, and I say potable, I don't say potable. I don't know, that's a whole thing.
Tomato.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Potable water, that's what this is rated for. So there's NSF rating on it. There's some kind of coating against the steel to keep it from coming in contact with the water. And then there is a diaphragm. And then on the other side of that diaphragm is air. So there's an air valve here. You hook up a gauge to it. I need to go out and grab my pump, verify that it is at the proper pressure that would match what's coming from the street. It says that it's pre-charged at 40 PSI. So we'll just verify that. And then this is gonna install right there on the cold inlet. And I don't want a valve in between the thermal expansion tank and the water heater itself. So no valve here. The shutoff valve will be coming off the side of that T. I'm gonna leave this off until I'm ready to put it in place. I think this is gonna work out fine, but just gotta make sure. And plus it's just gonna be in the way.
Was that a Hilti?
It
Oh,
is.
that's not even the one I would have used.
Oh.
Whatever.
You're gonna like that impact.
No,
Nicest impact you've ever used.
I know. Lonely road.
You got one more screw.
No, I don't.
What's this? Oh, it's a ground screw? I'll take that.
I gotta put the covers on.
Watch out, you're gonna get wet. Hey, I got a pro tip. So this cutter isn't necessarily waterproof, which seems weird, but is what it is. They're super useful. If it does get wet like that, what I usually do is I'll just stand it over in the corner upside down like that and let any water drain out.
Before I went out there.
Can you do me a favor, Mike?
Sing a song? Yeah.
Can you
Make sure
no, stand where you were?
There's the liquid lines over the top of it. Okay.
Can you, here, I'll take it. Can you, no, I'll take that.
Yeah, push this out of the way.
Yeah, push that out of the way. Maybe you got to stand on the other side of it though. All right, thank you.
I wanted it behind it.
I don't love it right here, to be honest with you.
Put it
We're
where
gonna
you
have to use that.
I'll
We're
put a box.
gonna- you
You
got-
bought a box.
Take that off, please.
No, it won't do anything.
Well, because I gotta move it.
Yeah, I get it.
I want the tank right. You know what's cool about tank water heaters? I love tankless. Bosch makes a tankless. Everybody's got good tankless. They're so fast to install. I'm gonna go like that. Sometimes you just have to get a little creative. I like that tank. It's Italian.
Now that you said it.
Yeah. Feels great.
Can I make it not straight up and down though?
Huh?
Can I make it look like it's not straight?
You got it?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. We're a little wonky.
Yeah, okay. I can push it up while you're doing it.
No. I'll just go get the proper tool for the job. That's why.
Oh, whatever you want to do.
That's why I own it. Ream, deburr, call it whatever you want. It's just proper prep. So here's a tip for anybody that doesn't understand what I'm doing with these tools. When you cut that copper, hear that? There's a ridge, very small, fine, sharp ridge on the inside of the pipe. And I'm using this tool to cut that off, all right? I'm cutting that off because as the water passes over that ridge, it creates turbulence and the water is spinning around inside the pipe like that. And what it does over many years, it doesn't happen quickly, but over many years, further down from that joint where that turbulence is created, it'll start to wear a hole right through the side of the pipe. So what we see is oftentimes commercial buildings, but it can be in residential too. Higher pressure, higher flow rates, you're gonna have that happen if you're not prepping the joint. But what you will see is, especially like on hot water recirc systems, hot water lines because of recirc, or like apartment buildings where you have just an immense amount of hot water usage. Cold water usage happens on cold water side too, but the recirc adds to it because you're moving water more often or at a higher rate. But proper prep is so important. Copper pipe will last, like, obviously decades and decades, but you got to put it together right. And it's not just pressing either. You have to do it with soldering, any kind of copper work. Press, solder. Hey Mike, do you say solder or solder?
Solder.
I say solder too.
I say braise more often though.
Yeah, you just kind of say braise.
All right.
You do me a favor now over here again?
Me?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
I need your help again.
Hold it up. Did you press
It's
this one?
It's not pressed, and I also need you to, like, it's not level, so I'm gonna tell you where to be. You're good there.
I know.
But I still have to do the second one, too.
Yep.
Look at that. I love these ring kits.
Me too. I'd love to have one.
You keep your hands off it. Keep your dirty mitts off of it. This allows you to get in tighter spaces. So this goes around the fitting, but then this special jaw allows me to swivel and get into tighter spots where the tool itself with the regular jaw
Doesn't do it.
won't fit. Because with the regular jaw, you have to be 90-degree perpendicular to the pipe, right? So the pipe is always going through that way. With that swivel jaw in the ring, I can turn it as needed to get into a tighter spot. Maybe there's a pipe in the way over here, that kind of thing. It's a really nice tool to add on to your kit. It's expensive.
That's why I don't own it.
You're like the richest poor guy I ever met.
I just don't want to spend money.
Or is it poorest rich guy?
I don't know.
I think it's poorest rich guy in this case. I think I misspoke.
You know, if I'm going to buy a tool that's that expensive, I'm probably going to buy a Skylift. For one garage heater install. And then I'm going to retire.
Like my garage door guy, Bubba. He's got that lift he tows around.
Yeah. The new trailer from M&G?
I don't know, but it makes it so easy for him to just come in and quickly service garage door stuff. Because he's not climbing up and down ladders.
I like Bubba.
Dude, we're ready for water. That thing looks like it's been in there quite a while. See if we can
Eric, how do you want me to do this part?
hold on.
You want another? Yeah, I wait.
Oh, that valve is really stiff. This is all brass. Wow. Don't see that very often. Why does it sound like we're running water, Mike?
Going into the softener.
Thank you. I'm ready to turn the water on.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Go to the tank, I mean. That was a toilet filling.
That sounds
We got everything pressed? I feel like I do.
Well,
We're gonna go with it.
when it opens and water comes out, then no.
I will be right back. I'm gonna go open some faucets upstairs. I salt bay these things, ready? You gotta get it coming off the elbow, out of the hand.
Sure.
Do you know what salt bay is? Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Didn't get the memo.
You'll get it now when you go home and Google it.
What did you just call
And
it?
then you'll laugh at this.
Right.
Ready?
What'd you say, Trev? Throw power?
Yeah, you can turn it on.
Oh,
Look at that,
great.
it's
Now
even
there's so
on.
much to display.
It's even on.
77. 1906, that's close enough.
We'll
Feels
mess
like
with that in a minute. I'm gonna carry stuff out. That's what's important at this moment in time. Be right back. Let me carry everything out before we continue on. All right, so in this box is the optional ducting kit, like the shrouds, the adapters for ducting the unit to the outside. There's a few different ways you can duct, and there's a couple different reasons why you're going to do it. So this would fit on, this particular one I believe fits on the top, right over the top here on the unit, roughly like that, okay? There still has access to the filter, the air filter on the top of it, but then your 8-inch duct will connect to this shroud. All right, so why would we use this? Let's think about this. So we talked about earlier in the video, not having enough volume. So this heat pump is gonna use the energy that's in the air. It's gonna transfer that through that jacketed heat exchanger that's on the outside of the tank, because that refrigerant is running through that, and it's taking the heat that it absorbs from the air, puts it into that refrigerant, transfers it through the sidewall of the tank. If we don't have enough volume, enough space in the area that this is installed, we need to bring in air from somewhere else. So it could be outside, could be a much larger space, let's say in the open basement, something like that. We could do that with a duct. It's an optional setup. You do have to consider though, whether or not you need that in your installation. I didn't need it. We've got a wide open basement. This basement's probably about 1,500 square feet or more, and there's nothing down here. It's not filled with anything for storage. You name it, it's wide open. So we got a lot of energy. It's actually quite warm in here, to be honest with you. Furnace is just right behind the camera, and you might hear that kick on and off while we're talking. The other thing, so you've got an exhaust and an intake on this unit. So that's going to require you to consider how this is going to be installed. If you had to duct it, you're going to have access to those two spots, because there are two shrouds. I just showed you one. Let's go over the heater itself. This is a 50-gallon model. We kind of talked about the parts and pieces. It's got stainless steel nipples pre-installed, temperature pressure relief valve pre-installed, brass drain valve on the bottom. It's not a full pour drain, but it's a pretty wide open drain. It is a ball drain, not a disc type. Connection point here for the electrical on the side, very easy to get to. I've just kind of got this propped in here because the old tankless was on the wall right behind where this is sitting. This gives us access for service on the top of the unit. And then, let me put that back in there. It also gives us access to the electrical, and then also to the drain and everything just right here. I do have to have some access for this thermal expansion tank. It's a little tight, but it's totally doable. This is running. So I did look in the specs, and the specs say that this operates, the heat pump will operate at less than 50 decibels, and normal conversation is 60 and above decibels. You do not have to talk over this. If there was a bedroom right on the other side of this wall, it's probably not going to be noticed if this thing is running. It's very, very quiet. It's so quiet so that I've never heard anybody in any feedback in any of my installations say anything about the noise this thing makes. It's very, very quiet. And then of course, if it's running on electric elements, you're not going to hear that. The other thing, so we've got multiple modes. Let's go over the modes quick, because I think this is really important. There's some explanation behind every one of the modes, and we'll start at the top. There's a mode button right on the control here. And as I push it, I start at the top, and it's vacation mode. So you can actually program this to go into vacation mode for a predetermined amount of time through scheduling. Just think about like a setback thermostat, all right? So you could schedule how many days you're gonna be away, have it turn on, maybe the day before you show up or the morning of your return home, that kind of thing. And you just access these things through the mode button right here on the control. Next mode is hybrid, and hybrid is what most people think of. A lot of plumbers are gonna recognize this saying. So hybrid is gonna utilize the heat pump and the electric elements simultaneously. That is gonna use the maximum amount of heat input into the tank, but it's also gonna use the most amount of energy. It is a nice mode if you need a higher recovery, you're gonna have a lot of people over, you can quickly put it into this mode. Next one is gonna be called E-heater. And E-heater is just the electric elements or the elements being used for heat. So just the electric resistance elements, you've got a lower and an upper. Those are 4,500 watts a piece, standard electric elements, nothing special there. I hit the mode one more time, it goes to an economy. Now this is the default mode. Economy is pretty interesting. This is where I've been leaving these set up. This is what's recommended by the manufacturer. This is what my customers are completely fine with. Economy mode is going to prioritize the heat pump and as needed and under certain conditions enable the electric resistance elements. Now the reason why this is probably the smartest setting for this tank is by prioritizing the heat pump, you're only using 500 watts of electricity versus the two 4,500 watt elements. Although it can use them both altogether if needed, and it's gonna know when to do that based off of temperature settings and seeing cooling down of the tank, that kind of thing. So basically, it's going to react to demand and enable the elements as needed, but prioritize the heat pump because the heat pump is up here. It's going to not worry about the elements unless it's needed. And then we can advance to heat pump only mode. So that's exactly what it says, heat pump, and it's not gonna use the electric elements. This would be the lowest operating cost mode possible, but you're looking at a longer recovery time as opposed to the other mode operations. And then we go back to vacation. So I'm gonna leave it at E-heater mode, and it's gonna take a minute for it to kick in. But right now, the cool thing too is a couple things are on display at the moment. The very top, there's an icon. It looks like a squiggly line with a dash through it. That means that the electric elements are operating right now. It's because I've been pushing the buttons, telling it to go in one direction or another. It needs a minute to catch back up. It also says the day of the week and the time of day in 24-hour period. And then also it's always gonna display the tank temperature. Right now it's 63 degrees Fahrenheit. When we filled it, it was just over 50, 55, somewhere around there. It's been running for, honestly, like 20 minutes, maybe at the longest, not even. But it's been in heat pump mode until I've been messing with it here. And this will just continue to rise. I needed to get up the temperature so I can set my thermostatic mixing valve, and I've got it set for a 135 degrees. Now that's way hotter than I want at the faucet. And we talked about that during the install. So we've got this thermostatic mixing valve. I want to deliver 120 degrees to the house. And so I'm setting the tank at 135 because my mixing valve wants me to have about 15 or more degree temperature differential between hot and cold. And that'll allow me to mix down to the proper temp. So that's it in a nutshell. A couple things for maintenance. So any tank is going to require annual flushing. They're feeding it with great water here. They've got whole house water conditioning system. They're on city water, so they're taking care of all of the minerals and chemicals. They're taking that out of the water. We're filling it with good, clean water. I have no hesitation to say that this is gonna last them a very, very long time, and with proper maintenance, it's gonna be great. There are some additional settings you can find that are kind of like on the advanced mode or advanced menu settings kind of thing like that, and that's all gonna be in the manual. That gets really dry. I'm not gonna really go over it in this video. I tell you what, there's a lot of things you could do. You could schedule maintenance with it. You could do different temperature settings based on time of day, things like that, all that kind of stuff. That's all in that advanced menu. But beyond that, yeah, we're already heating, and it's really, really a nice installation. I love the look of it. So a couple things you saw during the installation as we're pulling it in here. There's handles on the side of it. I like that. There's adjustable feet on the bottom of it, and it's easy to slide around because there's some some nice plastic on the bottom of the tank that allows it to glide on the concrete floor. Beyond that, basic electric resistance heating elements. They're, like I said, just off the shelf type of replacements on those, 4,500 watts. And then of course you've got your heat pump here. We've got a panel right there for our disconnect. We put in a whip just because it makes installation a little easier. We carry those on the van, that kind of thing. So guys, I want to thank you for watching. This was a fun installation. I'm so excited about Bosch's Greentronic heat pump. I'm excited about heat pumps in general for domestic hot water. I think it's where the future's going. We're seeing a lot of demand for this type of appliance. These appliances are going to serve really a wide range of household types of households, however many people there are, standard and even some higher demand applications. They're going to do great in those, as long as you're setting them up right and as long as you're installing them in the right space. That volume is a big thing. The ducting options are going to be something you're going to have to consider if you don't have that volume you need to capture that heat and transfer it into the water. I do want to thank you for watching this long. I'm having a lot of fun making these videos, and I want to thank Bosch for working with me on this. I think their Greentronic tank water heater, the heat pumps, it's going to be very exciting for contractors to get their hands on and start installing these for their customers. Guys, have a great day. And if you haven't already, hit like and subscribe on this video. And I want to see you back on the next one. Have a good one.